Welcome back to Season 6 of Pacers Gaming. This is the Pacers Gaming Podcast presented by Salesforce. I'm Eric Ward, a.k.a. Yay Night Gaming. I'm the Team Operations Coordinator this season here with Gil Santiago Jr., a.k.a. Range. Glad to have you on the team this year. First off, first question to get things started here. How did you come up with the name Range?
Funny story. Around 2K, maybe 17, 18, I started out playing shooting guard. And kind of being a sharp. So it kind of became, the name Range, just shooting from long range. And my first ever gamer tag was Mr. Range. So it was funny how it just all came about. So that's kind of where I get the gamer tag from, is like me being a sharp and being a knockdown shooter from long range, which is kind of opposite of what I am at the current, moment, which I play lockdown now. But that's where the name Range originates from.
Okay, so starting off from your sharpshooter days and now you're at the lockdown position, what encouraged you to go from being a from a sharpshooter to a lockdown?
Honestly, I pride myself on defense. I've always had a defensive mentality, even when I played like basketball, in New York, like growing up. I've always prided myself on being like kind of a 3-and-D type of guy. Just playing really gritty basketball, being a guy who can knock down shots and kind of guard the other team's best player. Honestly, my game, what I translated from real life kind of formed on the game into the league. It's funny, the build I play on is a 3-and-D wing. So it's kind of funny how it all correlates back to each other. But like for most of my life, I've always played basketball. I played in college. I played Division III basketball. And I've played all throughout high school and even AAU growing up. So that's kind of the background of where, myself being a 3-and-D wing kind of translates over to, the video game world.
Gotcha. I know you said you're from New York. For all the folks that might not know too much about you, what part of New York are you from? And talk a little bit more about your family and how it was like growing up in this like basketball field like city.
So that's a great question. And I grew up in the Bronx, New York, and I've always been surrounded by basketball my entire life. My mom and my dad are my biggest supporters, and my dad really encouraged me early on to be active, whether it was basketball, whether it was a little bit of football as well. Growing up, my dad always was taking me to AAU tournaments, whether it was in Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and me and my dad, we traveled so many states. It's unbelievable. I'm so grateful to have great parents and a great father figure in my life, to support me through everything, even gaming and anything that I do. I know I have his support, and it's great to have that. And the fact that he sacrificed so much for me growing up just for me to be able to play basketball, like it means the world, because I wouldn't be in this situation that I am today without the support of my family, and let alone just my dad, but my mother and my brother and my grandparents who are still living with us. They all see that I have potential, and they see the good side of me, to where it's like I can go far in whatever I do, as long as I keep a straight mind and continue to keep looking forward.
Definitely, man. It's definitely great to have that great support system, especially in the basketball realm we live in. So like, tell me a little bit more about how you went from playing basketball in real life and getting buckets in real life to switching over to the game and explaining that to your family. How was it like kind of breaking it down for the first time for them?
So I started taking the game really serious about 2 years ago, and that was right when I was in college. And honestly, college was kind of, for me at least, it was overwhelming to a point, just because of I was taking 18 credits. So I was taking 6 classes per semester, because I had to catch up. And it was kind of saddening, because it's kind of like I had to pick one, like school or ball. I couldn't really do both, just because of the time that I actually had. It would take me at least an hour to get to school, so I'll be up early mornings, late nights doing homework, trying to get my credits right so I could graduate on time. So that was kind of a sad moment for me, but I'm happy that I did choose to go the school route, because at the end of the day, like, I can't say I did graduate with a degree in communications and a minor in sports management. So that for me was really big, especially being the first in my family to actually graduate from college. So I actually pride myself on that. I'm very happy that I did complete college. But transitioning back over to your question, like you said, of transitioning from basketball in real life to the game definitely wasn't easy. Just because my family didn't really know about it like as much. They were just like, oh, like, you know, you're staying up late playing a video game, or you're putting a lot of effort and time into it and it's not giving you anything in return, basically. The only person who really understood me was my little brother, who is also at Syracuse right now, and he's doing coding, and he understands the video game world a lot. He watches Twitch streams and he knows 2K, and he's very fond of the game. He plays a lot of first-person shooters and stuff like that, so his video game knowledge is very well there. But as opposed to my parents, it was very different. It was something that they've never experienced before because they never stepped into the world of video games, or let alone NBA 2K. So the transition was rough, but as time went on, they kind of saw that I was performing very well, and that, you know, during the draft process, even last year, when I did not get drafted, that I was still receiving a lot of interviews and emails from coaches and a lot of text messages saying that I would, you know, that they would, you know, keep reaching out to me and they want to know more about me. So the transition was, you know, kind of rocky in the beginning, but smoother towards the end of it when I started getting results.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback off of that, like kind of walk us through the draft experience this year from the moment you realized that you were draft eligible and you're eligible for the combine to the second you got drafted.
I transitioned over to Xbox, and that's when I really kind of like started taking off a little bit with execution with Bray from Kingsguard Gaming, Benzo, Jolo, and forgot who else was on it. Oh, and I'm NATO. So yeah, it was definitely a tricky draft, you know, pre-draft coming up. And then I remember I became draft eligible through the Magic tourney on Xbox when I played with Verse, the assistant coach for Kingsguard Gaming. The fact that we even made it to the finals was stunning to me, just because of like the tournament. Obviously, it was a Bud Light sponsored tournament, so it was like 18 and older or 21 and over. So you had to be of age first off to participate. So all the kind of the young guys like, you know, Spam, you know, Glizzy Greens couldn't participate due to them being 18 years old. So, you know, I remember I won it with Verse, and I had like 700 people on my stream going crazy. They were all, you know, just cheering me on and happy for me that I finally won my spot. And that was a feeling, you know, that was unbelievable. And then, you know, leading up, and now we're in Manhattan in New York City. Now it's draft night, and honestly, I didn't know where I was gonna go. I knew teams that obviously I interviewed with, that they showed interest in me. But me thinking, if you told me like where I was gonna go, or if I was gonna go 11 to the Pacers, I would have told you like, no shot. Like, you know, it's just not happening. Just because of you know, the draft class at lock, and you know, the kind of guys who you know, word gets around, you know, hey, you know, these guys are, you know, kind of more interested, or you kind of, you know, see it as time goes on. You know, I'm a very firm believer in time will tell. So, you know, that's kind of what it was. But I'm more than happy to be here, just because of not only like how the Pacers Gaming treat me, but like the support system that is behind Pacers Gaming. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, about to say, like, to kind of go more into that, like, how did you feel the very moment you found out you were coming to Indiana, and what do you think of the city of Indianapolis so far in the organization?
Yeah,
the Pacers.
That's a good question. So when I first got here, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of a stunner, cause like it still felt surreal. Even like when I got my name called draft night, like even that time coming towards when I did get into market into Indiana, it still kind of felt like kind of surreal. But like when I got here, like that's when it really, really hit me. Like it was just like, wow, like now I'm really here now. Like this is a thing. Like, you know, this is like my career. So like this is something that I have to like take serious and like be on my P's and Q's about every time. Like every time I do anything, you know, every time I step into this facility, like that's kind of what my mind process was at. Like it hit me draft night. Like it was cool getting like hearing like Pacers gave me select range, and you know, at number 11, but like it still felt like it was like a dream, like a fantasy almost, like to the point where it's like, all right, well, your name got called, but you know, in like a week you got to go to Indiana. I was like, oh man, it was like, wow. Because, like, obviously New York to Indiana is kind of, two different paces of life. Especially coming from where I'm from, it's like very fast paced. And then coming to Indiana where it's a lot more slowed down, but it's also a lot of stuff to do at the same time.
Now that the season has started a little bit, like, what do you think of your teammates?
Honestly, I'm happy with all of my teammates. Honestly, we've grown so much. Not even just on the court, but off the court. Even though it's only 3v3, like, we still have a bond that all five of us can share. It's like we've all felt in a room when it's down and out, and we've been through the trials and tribulations early, and we've gone upwards and haven't looked back yet. So it's like I'm very proud of my teammates, and I'm very, very, very proud of everyone's mentality coming forward. Because honestly, we started off 0-5, and it could have been easy to throw in the towel. It's been like, hey, you know what? Let's just get ready for the next threes tournament or fives tournament, or let's get ready for fives. Let's just chalk threes. Let's just not care about it no more. But the fact that we did bounce back and now we're almost in playoff contention, and we have games tonight that could really put us in that position is something to be proud of. Not just for yourself, but for your other four teammates that you call your brothers.
Definitely. Now that you got some time to play around on both 3v3 and the 5v5 mode on the league build, people who might be watching, we have a different league build outside of the NBA 2K retail copy. So for the 3v3 and the 5v5, like, what do you think is the most preferable in the eyes of range? What do you like the most?
Honestly, I think more fun is definitely threes for sure. As much as like more of a casual side of things, I definitely like when I'm just relaxing. I want to get a threes game in. Like, I would definitely prefer to play threes because the game is to 21. It's fairly quick. But if I had to have a preference, it probably would be fives, just because that's where I kind of played the most of my pro-am and amateur career. Was definitely in 5v5 mode. And I wouldn't say that like both game modes are fun. It's just preference, honestly. Like 3v3 is fun. You just have to find enjoyment in it. It can be stressful at times, as we know. Just because every possession matters, just because you only get so many possessions a game, especially against really good teams. Like I think I did the math on it. Like the possession per team, like against really good teams, is like you get like 10 possessions a game, or like 11, which is like crazy because like that's how many chances you have to convert offensively and defensively. So yeah, and as opposed to fives, obviously you have 24 minutes to play, and you can afford kind of to make a little bit more mistakes in fives just because you have more time to make up for it. But as far as like threes, it's very very tedious almost. It's like you have to be on your P's and Q's. But obviously fives is more preferable in my instance, just because I kind of find more fun in fives just because I've played it for so long.
Right. So to all the folks that are looking to be in your position and get drafted by the NBA 2K League organization, what is a bit of advice you can give to some of the prospects of the future to kind of put themselves out there and differentiate themselves from other people, not only in their position and in their draft class as well? Just a little bit of advice you can give them.
So a lot of it is being able to step out your shell, being able to reach out to coaches that you never ever even spoke to before. Like, that's kind of where you want to be, that outgoing kid, that guy that's like not afraid to show face to anyone. That's kind of where I found myself last year, kind of being kind of timid and not reaching out to people that I've never even talked to before. But I learned very quickly that in order to get to where you want to go, you have to step outside your comfort zone and kind of be comfortable being uncomfortable, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like for me, it was a lot of this, especially this pre-draft streaming on Twitch, making sure that I did stream majority of my games, making sure I saved my VODs to Twitch to make sure that if a coach wanted to go back and watch my film, he could, and even labeling them in folders. Those are the kind of things that kind of also help coaches really keep an eye out for you, because they don't want to go searching for your film. They got to do that for 200 other people. So if you can do that and make their job easier, it shows that you also care a little bit more than just the average guy. just by doing those little things like reaching out and, even sending your streams to coaches or even players on that team. Like, it's not like they're going to be like, oh, we don't want to watch it. Like, if they don't respond, like, it's okay. But as time goes on, they'll be like, oh, hey, I got this DM from such and such, and he's actually been playing really well. He has a positive attitude, and that takes you far. Like in the league, it's as much as it is talent, you have to be able to have a strong mentality, no matter what it is. Like whether you're down 20, you're up 20, down 10, up 10, you're 0-10, you're 10-0. Like you have to have the mentality of wanting to get better and have a positive mindset going forward, because these 6 months it's very short and it's very condensed, so where it's like it will test your mental and it will test, if you have a positive mentality or not.
Definitely, man. I think that's really good advice, especially like setting up folders on Twitch. That's something I didn't even think of.
Yeah.
That's really good advice. As a last question, say you had a major in communication and minor in sports management, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So in the next 10 years, like what are your goals to life? Where are you looking to see yourself? Where are you looking to see Gil Santiago Jr. in 10 years?
Well, honestly, I have a business back home with my dad called Wheel Warriors, and I want to do social media content for him, especially since the business is growing rapidly. It's a wheel repair business, and that's very, very big in the Bronx, especially that area, just because it's an automotive area. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of car wrapping shops, a lot of auto mechanic shops, a lot of dealerships, and they're all looking to kind of push product, obviously, and, push out to the market of people. And the best way to do that, I feel like, is through social media. So kind of like helping my dad going forward. And if not that, I'm going to be honest, I just want to be surrounded by, either basketball or football, whether I could get into any social media field, honestly. Nothing really specific right now, just because of I haven't really thought that far ahead, I'm going to be honest. But if I had to pick and choose, I definitely would want to be like in or around like an NBA organization or an NFL organization and kind of help players build their social media presence, or even build an organization's social media presence, if they're having trouble with that, and give them cool ideas on how to, bring attention to their organization or their players.
For sure, man. Appreciate you taking the time to chat for the folks. Also, thanks for coming over here to Indiana.
Appreciate it.
The whole neck of the woods here in Indiana.
Appreciate you.
PACERS gaming. Love to have you, and we're going to have a big season this year.
Yes, sir.
I know you're ready. You've been putting the work in. Thanks to everybody who's watching. Again, this is PACERS Gaming Podcast with Salesforce. We'll see you next time.